There's a place on this earth where time doesn't really pass. It accumulates. Like dust in an abandoned house. Every winter is a new layer, a new page, burying the one that came before it. We call it Antarctica, the bottom of the world, a continent of ice, so vast and so alien it feels more like a different planet than a part of our own. We think of it as empty, a blank space on the map of human history. But that's a mistake. It isn't a blank space, it's a vault, a library of frozen time, a mile deep. And for decades, we've been learning how to read it. We've been listening to the whispers trapped in the ice. And recently, one of those whispers became a shout. It started, as these things often do, not with a discovery, but with an anomaly, a ghost in the machine. For years, satellites using ground-penetrating radar have been mapping the rock beneath the ice sheet, trying to understand the bones of this hidden land. They found mountains taller than the Alps, valleys deeper than the Grand Canyon, all entombed in a permanent winter. But then, in a vast, flat basin known as Wilkes Land, the data started to look wrong. Beneath 2 miles of solid ice, the radar was showing a pattern where there should only be the beautiful chaos of nature. It was a faint grid, a suggestion of straight lines, right angles, things that geology on its own very rarely makes. The first reaction, of course, was dismissal, a software glitch, a magnetic interference, an echo in the equipment, because the alternative was simply too much to consider. But the signal wouldn't go away. Different satellites, different teams, different years. They all saw it, a faint geometric scar on the bedrock, hundreds of miles wide, the ghost of something enormous. The real work began with a drill. Imagine a hollow needle, slowly, carefully, sinking through 1,000,000 years of history. Each foot of ice it brings to the surface is a time capsule. Scientists can read the ancient atmosphere in trapped air bubbles, trace volcanic eruptions through layers of ash. It's how we know the story of our planet's climate. They drilled near the anomaly, deeper and deeper. 10,000 years ago, 50,000, 100,000. The story was familiar. Ice age, thaw, a planet breathing. Then, at a depth corresponding to roughly 3 million years ago, everything changed. They found a layer unlike any other. It wasn't just ice. Trapped within it, in microscopic fragments, was ash and pollen. The pollen was from ferns and pine-like trees, confirming what scientists had long theorized, that this far back, Antarctica was green, a temperate world of forests and rivers. But the ash was the bombshell. Using sophisticated mass spectrometry, the team at the Ice Core lab analyzed its chemical signature. They were looking for the telltale signs of a volcano, but they didn't find them. The composition was wrong. Dr. Alistair Finch, a paleoclimatologist who was there, described it to me not with scientific jargon, but with awe. He said, volcanic ash is chaotic. Its rocks superheated and exploded. This was different. This was the signature of carbon, of organic matter, burned at a much lower temperature. It was the ash of a massive, continent-spanning forest fire. And then came the final, bone-chilling discovery. The pollen grains weren't just a random assortment from a wild forest. They were dominated by just a few specific species, a distribution that, in the natural world, only happens for one reason: agriculture, cultivation. It wasn't a city of stone they'd found. It was something far more subtle and far more profound. It was the echo of an intention. The straight lines on the radar weren't roads or buildings. They were likely patterns of systematic land clearing. The ash wasn't from a volcano, but from controlled burns. The pollen wasn't from a wild forest, but from managed crops. Under 2 miles of ice lies the undeniable evidence of industry, of intelligence, a civilization not defined by what it built, but by how it lived with the land and how it died 3 million years ago, long before the first flicker of what we would call humanity. We have no bones, no tools, no art, just this ethereal fingerprint, the ghost of a world that faced a climate catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. Not a rising sea, but a descending sky of ice. You have to wonder, did they see it coming? Did they watch the winters get longer, the summers get colder? Did they feel the world changing under their feet, the slow, unstoppable advance of a cold that would eventually swallow everything they had ever known? Did they look to the stars and wonder if anyone would ever know they were here? We look out into the cosmos for signs of intelligent life, listening for a signal in the static. But maybe the most important message we will ever receive comes not from the stars, but from the deep, frozen heart of our own planet. The ice that entombed this lost world is now melting, and as it recedes, it is giving up its secrets. It's not a tomb, you see. It's a message in a bottle, cast into an ocean of time. And it tells us that we are not the first. It tells us that even great ambition, even intelligence, is no guarantee against the forces of nature. That everything we build, everything we are, can be erased and become nothing more than a faint pattern on a radar screen and a handful of dust trapped in the ice. A whisper waiting millions of years and to be heard.